What's good, family? Good to see you all back again. I just want to say thank you everyone for supporting so far. I never expected the response I'm getting over just a couple videos. I seriously did think it was going to take a lot longer to hit that 500 subscriber mark, but I appreciate you all. But for today, let's get it started. I need to get that light fixed. It's looking childish. I need to go out, man, start acting my age. But yeah, today, as you can see, these road conditions are foolish. Come out to do a quick job, I got caught in the rain. Managed to get some tissue to obviously wipe off the seat and all of that. But I thought I'd talk today about 1, riding at night, and 2, riding in the wet. So, let me chuck my bag on. If I can find it. Yeah, there you go. Let me jump on the bike. Let's get out to the main road. Get my sat nav all set up. And then see what's out there. See how bad it is. See how harder things might be. And all that good or bad stuff. So, gloves on. These are some of the worst gloves I've got. I don't know what brand they are. They're cool, but yeah, they're getting replaced soon. But alright, cool, let's go. And we're back. So, riding at night. Also riding while it's wet. Oh, this mic is mashing up my chin. Ugh. So my best advice is just don't do it. Stay in your yard. Stay home, chill out, grab a hot chocolate, slap something on TV, and just call it a day. But if you have to go out, like me for example, I got stuck out. The weather went like this earlier. I got here, and as I got here, as I pulled up, as I started to set myself up, the skies opened up. So if you have to go out, or if you're already out and it starts raining, you just have to pay a bit more attention to what you're doing. Now, one thing, I haven't got my other camera on, is get yourself some sort of hydrophobic spray for your visor. That's the first thing that I'd probably do. So when the rain does hit your visor, it doesn't stick. It sort of beads up and it rolls off. So you can do that with some sort of hydrophobic spray, liquid that you then wipe off. And you could also ceramic coat it. I don't know too much about the ceramic coat inside. It seems long to me. And look at him. He's so nice of him. But yeah, ceramic coating's another one, and I haven't tried that, so I can't really speak too much on that. But definitely get yourself some sort of hydrophobic sort of solution to go over your visor. Because if you are riding while it's raining, then that gives you the best chance of seeing where you're going. Without something like that, then you're looking at the rain sticks and it's a lot harder for you to see and navigate in the wet. Secondly, pay attention to that front brake. If you find yourself, you can't brake the same in the wet as you can in the dry for obvious reasons. You want to be easy on that front brake. And also, even possibly on occasion, I might not even recommend that. But using the back brake as a supplement. Now, if you're going at an adequate speed, you shouldn't need to think about using both brakes. So what I'd say for a lot of newer riders is, again, innit, stick within your limits. If you're on a road where the speed limit's 40, think to yourself, do you have to do 40? Not necessarily. The main aim is to get where you're going and get there safely. So think about the roads that you're on. Now, familiarity can be your best thing when driving in any condition. Riding on roads that you've ridden on before, you've driven on before, you cycled on, ran on, crawled on, done backflips on before. Being familiar with those roads help you massively. So the biggest thing that you could do in your riding career is to get out and ride. When you've got nothing to do, you've got no actual destination, you've got no actual place to go, get out on your bike and just go for a ride. Get that experience, build that experience. Go down roads that you've never been before just to see what it's like. Because you never know, one day when the sat-nav might take you down that road. Places that you typically go to on a daily basis, say if you use your bike to commute. Instead of going that same dusty route that you always take, switch it up one day. Take that random left or that random right. Take that dual carriageway or take that motorway. See where it takes you and get familiar with more roads around you. Now, it not only helps with you getting more time on the road and experiencing more road conditions, but it also helps you be more aware of your overall surroundings. So you're much more aware of where goes where, what routes can take you to where, and you'll be surprised at where some of those lefts and rights can take you. You'll be surprised at how familiar the end of those lefts or rights might be. So this road's pretty dry. So I don't know what happened there, but hey. But yeah, braking, you want to be easy on the braking. You want to have bigger gaps with the vehicles in front. You want to be braking earlier and braking smoother. So there's times where you can sort of get up close, be close behind another vehicle, which I don't advise. And then you've got the dry road, you've got warm tyres, you've got the traction, you can just pull on that brake and slow yourself quite abruptly. That's not so easy in the wet. So for example, the road's a bit more dry now. So I'm about a car and a half distance from the vehicle in front. If the road was wet, if the road was soaking, I'd probably double that. My road positioning, I'm looking at staying center. So if you stay center in the road, then whatever happens in front of you, you've got all of the left and you've got all of the right to do whatever maneuver you need to do to get out of trouble. Also, where you've got that distance from the vehicle in front, you're not only seen by the rear view mirror, you're seen by the left mirror and you're seen by his right rear view mirror. So the vehicles in front have a better awareness of you being behind them if they use their mirrors. If it's a van like that, then they've got their left and the right, and then they've got their blind spot mirrors to catch you in. So think about that distance that you are between the vehicles in front. Double that, triple that if you have to. Think about your lane positioning and tell yourself, do I need to be in the right lane? If you need to go slower, get over into the left lane, and people that want to pass you, let them pass you. Now, unlike a car, when it comes to braking, you got 4 points of contact on the ground. If you skid out, you might lose your back end if you're on a rear wheel drive, or your fronts might lock up and it might send you into into some oversteer or an understeer situation or whatever you. Just remember, innit, you're in a car, you're in a van. You're pretty safe. You lock up that front wheel and you don't know what that's like and you don't know how to control that, you are going down. And depending on what gear you've got on will be the difference between you still having skin on your legs and your back and your arms or not. So, best advice, stay in your yard. But if you can't, just be conscious about all those other factors that are at play. Now it's also dark. Obviously our bikes, we've got lights on the front, we've got lights at the back, we still got our indicators. But depending on what time of night you're at, will depend on the type of drivers we have on the road. Now, the later you get into the night, the more blasé some drivers might be, the less attentive they might be. So if you think about it this way, you leave your house, you come out your yard at about 6, 7 o'clock. You're out on the roads riding at around 8 o'clock. Most of the rush hour is done. But there's a lot of people still out on the road that may have been out all morning. They may be on coming off of a 12-hour shift. Yeah, they may be coming off a 12-hour shift or what have you. They may be tired, they just want to get home. Their attention levels may not be as great as those who are driving around at say 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So when you're on motorways, when you're on dual carriageways like I am now, this is the place where tired drivers really sort of exhibit how tired they are by the way that they maneuver across their lane, the way that they may sway in their lane. So, depending on what time of night you drive will affect you by the types of drivers that might be out. Now let's take it a step further. Now you're out on a Friday night, for example, 11, 12 at night. That's where the rude boys come out. That's when you might get some of them boy racers, you might get drunk drivers, again you get tired drivers. You get all these sort of different drivers that add different elements to your riding experience. Like I'm stopping for that. So yeah, all these types of drivers at midnight and beyond, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever o'clock, that adds a whole different element of danger to the roads. Now, when you're driving at night and in the rain, yeah, well, guess what? It's even worse. Now, on a gear bike where we're rear wheel drive or rear wheel driven, I'd never advise using your back brake. If you're trained to do so, and if you've gone on a skid pan or you've done track days and you've done a lot of riding in the rain, then that don't really apply to you. You know what you're doing and you do so at your own risk. But the back brake is predominantly, or I predominantly use it, one for slow maneuvers, and then the second time I use it is just to get rid of some of that brake dust, just to sort of get the pad on the disc, so the disc doesn't always just rust up and is just disused for months and months. So usually on the slow moving traffic, I'd use my back brake to slow me down when I'm coming up to lights or what have you. But when it's wet, I almost don't touch it at all unless I have to do somewhat of an emergency brake, where I've got a bit too much on the front brake. I've sort of preloaded the front tyre a bit too much, and I just want to ease it up a bit by tapping on that back brake, not slamming on it, but tapping on that back brake just to help level the bike out a bit. Because remember, as you're riding, when you pull on the front brake, your bike dips. So if you hear me saying about sort of preloading that front tyre, it's something that you do when you want to take corners. You apply some front brake so that your tyre dips, so that you've got more traction and more weight on that front tyre. So what happens is when you're riding, is if you tap on that back brake a bit, it helps to level it out a bit, so you're a bit more flat. But again, I haven't mastered that, and I only do it if I need to, but I'm conscious about how that feels and how the bike would behave in those circumstances. Now, braking is something that I think everyone should practice, whether you're in the wet or you're in the dry. Go to an empty car park at night after it's been raining or what have you. Or like an industrial estate somewhere off road where you're not causing anyone any bother. Big man, is this? Oh, now it's 60. I'm just following this girl like I ain't got nowhere to be. Yeah, get out and practice. I say the best thing for new riders, the best thing for people that don't ride often, is basically getting time on that seat. Getting time on the throttle, going through different road conditions. Find yourself some wet roads, some bumpy roads. Find yourself some twists, some turns, some country roads, back roads, motorways, dual carriageways, A roads, whatever. There's nothing like actually getting out there. Get your kit on, jump on the bike, get out on them roads. And to be fair, there's not much more that I can really say on it. When it's wet, the roads are more slippery. Now remember as well, I believe it's in the first 10 minutes of rainfall is where the roads are the most slick. So if you plan on going out and your only method of transport is the bike and it started to rain, give it 15-20 minutes before you actually go out. Give time for all the water to just get into the road, soak into the road, saturate the road. So now you don't have that slicker surface where the water's just sort of bouncing off before it's actually had a chance to settle. So give it 15 minutes, give it 20 minutes before stepping out. Double check your tyres, make sure your pressures are good if you've got a pressure gauge, which everyone probably should have, or a pump of some sort. Make sure your tyres are good, make sure you've got no punctures, no bulges, any of that. And then once you get going, again, I think on every ride I do it, once I get up to about 15 or 20, I just do a quick brake check. Make sure my front brakes are still good, make sure my back brakes are still good. Because you never know what might have happened while your bike has been parked up. So just do all of those safety checks. Again, make sure your mirrors are clean. So before I started the video, I gave my seat a clean, I gave the sides of my fairings a clean, I gave my mirrors a clean, I gave my windscreen a clean, and the front. Just so when I do get up to speed, all the water that would be sitting in there isn't just flying back in my face. So do all of these checks. Make sure you're all zipped up, gloves are all tight, helmets on, strapped in. So I'm not making that mistake on video again. And then yeah, man, go out there and have fun. So I think, yeah, man, I'm probably just gonna stop it there. I think as I've come out, I just see the opportunity. It was wet, it was dark. to sort of just have a quick chat about that. So yeah, man, just get out on the roads, be safe, and yeah, until the next one, easy.